All right, I got the splash ball joined and glassed in. It didn't go too bad at all. I think I got it fairly even. Just this inside piece I had to do last, just did it now, and give everything another coat of epoxy. Before I did that, I sanded everything so it's all pretty smooth and level. And of course, we'll sand it again once it's all dried in between epoxy coats to make sure everything's level and smooth and stuff like that. So kind of cheating a bit by using epoxy instead of body filler, so I'll use some thickened epoxy for any little holes and stuff like that, and I'll just kind of put that in there and just kind of sand it to a nice taper, and I think it'll work out fine. You can see where the joint is there a bit, but this side's a little bit thicker than the other. For some reason, I guess my angle grinder must have been the harder to do this one or something, but anyway, it's all good. It's joined, and that's been tabbed in just a few minutes ago, so I'll have to put probably another 2 or 3 coats of epoxy on that. Depends how the stuff that's flat, it holds the epoxy really nice, fills in all the holes. The stuff that's on an angle like this or whatever, it wants to drain off, so you're always left with, you can see the ribbing and the fiberglassing in the 1708, so that's why I have to do a few more coats. So that's okay. That's the second coat, and it's already looking pretty good. Probably just one more, and maybe some thickened epoxy in any little voids or whatever. So, and apparently I'm supposed to wait about a week for this stuff to cure, and then I can paint it. So that's what I've kind of researched. So I think I'm gonna try to paint the transom today in the back here. So just got to give it a final sanding and just check everything out. I gave the drain ports a coat of epoxy again inside, and so that's sealed up well. Of course, it'll be caulked when I put the drain ports on anyway. So yeah, so it's turning out not too bad. Like I say, I was kind of nervous about cutting the splash valve off, but seems to have fused together pretty good, pretty strong. So plus it's got all the screws here that screw to the hull all the way around, and my trim piece goes on there. Kind of regret that I had to cut it here, but I didn't want to take the whole thing off. So, but oh well, this vinyl trim goes over, kind of cover most of it, so that's not so bad. So that's where I'm at, and yeah, I'll just keep going here. All right, I got the ventilation holes cut out here in the front of the boat. You can see down there. It's hard to see, but so what I'm going to put there is these caps. And these just unscrew, and then just like that. They slip in there. Once I get the vinyl flooring down, and then these just screw off and on, so that way when I'm done fishing for the day or for the year or whatever, I can just unscrew these and get good ventilation just in case any water got underneath the hull. And so that's what I did there. So those are cut out and ready to go. And then with the bilge well, I've got 4 ports down there. There's one here and one here on each side of the center stringer, and then there's one on each end here in case some of the outside stringers get any water inside there. They shouldn't, but just in case. So that should give me a good ventilation. I just open up all those ports, take the plugs out, and open these up, and yeah, should keep it dry under there. And if it does get wet, we'll keep it dry, help dry it out for sure. All right, decisions. Trying to figure out, while I'm waiting for the epoxy stuff to dry here, where I should mount my downriggers this time. When I did get them, they came with these pedestal swivel mounts, but I'd already had these type of mounts on my boat, and they fit on there fine. It's like on the other side there, that's where they were sitting before. They're just loose right now. So I know I had a couple of times when I was out there, lots of currents out there, and I got the downrigger cable wrapped around the prop of the motor, and it snapped it, and I lost about a $50 cannonball plus. So it's don't want that to happen. So they say the farther back you have your downriggers, the less chance it is to get stuck into your prop somehow, because I know sometimes the currents are really bad out there, especially if you're trying to turn and then the cable does a weird, almost a 360 sometimes. And yeah, so so if I do that, if I put them on the pedestal mounts, I'm just trying to figure out, I don't like reaching too far out, so it's kind of too far this way, I think, but I can go as far this way as I can, but yeah, and then my rod holders were right here, so I might, if I do mount them here, I think I might buy another rod holder that mounts onto the boom. One of these, like this one has, just mount it right onto the boom there. So I got to decide. Also, I think these mounts, pretty sure there's another plate that these mount to. So there's like these kind of wing nut, plastic wing nut with a metal thing on there that they screw down, so you can unscrew them, take them off, but the actual plate still stays there. So I don't know if I can just get those or not. I gotta look into that. So anyway, just more decisions. So just trying to make the boat better and more ergonomic, I guess you could say. Yeah, so especially if I'm by myself, sometimes just those little things make a big difference in netting a fish and losing a fish. You know, there's this stuff's in the way and that kind of thing, right? So but yeah, so I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do here, and we'll go from there. All right, got the first coat of paint on the transom. It's actually looking pretty good. I used the right side polyurethane. Lays on pretty nice. This is just one coat. Don't want to do too thick. Just kind of went around if there's any runs or anything like that. It's actually with the, you can kind of see the shine there. When I use that thickened epoxy as fillers for holes and stuff, it actually is not too bad. You know, I mean, obviously do better with the body filler type stuff, or the fairing material, I think it's called, something like that. I think it would be better, but yeah, it actually doesn't look too bad at all. So quite surprised. So wait about 8 hours and then give it a quick sand with, I think, 220 grit, and then give her another coat. And I think I'll try at least 3 coats. And I've done one coat, and I've got lots of paint left. Hardly used anything, so I'll have tons. So that's just for the transom. And then yeah, and once that cures, then I can get the motor on after all the coats are on. And then maybe later in the year or something like that, I might do the whole boat. I don't know, we'll see. So I do have to obviously do the where I join the splash valve back together here. I have to do those points. So, but I have to wait. There's different things on the internet. Some people say 7 days, some people say 3 to 5 days. So I don't know. I think maybe I'll give it about 4 or 5 days, and then I'll put a coat on there. And if it doesn't turn out, I can always redo it when I do the rest of the boat. So yeah, it's a little stinky, the paint, but more stink, the better the paint is, I think. So all right, so I made a decision. I decided to mount my downriggers on these pedestal mounts at the back, and I think it'll work out just great. Yeah, should be fine. These things are pretty sweet. You can either tip them up like this, or you can bring them down, and then you can fish. And then if you want to do some traveling, you just put them sideways like that, so they're out of the way and facing backwards. Yeah, pretty sweet. So actually, when I found these mounts, or these downriggers, I found them when I got them. They came with these, and I had installed them the other way. My old downriggers were manual, so So there, yeah. So when you travel, then you can just put them sideways like that and get them out of the way. Makes it much easier to kind of stow, I guess, or whatever, but kind of think they should have like a left and right because the motor kind of sticks out on this a bit. I should have moved the mount over a bit, but it's not that bad. So they're just on there for fishing, so they're not too bad. And I give the transom a coat of paint, a couple coats so far, looks good enough until I actually paint the whole boat one day. And got the steering cable installed. As you can see, it's sitting in the splash well there. And got it hooked up to the steering wheel, a new helm and all that stuff. And got my VHF radio installed, and to start and install my new fish finder. So just waiting for the paint to cure a bit more before I put the motor on. And probably another couple days or so, I think. And also got to paint these where the splash well was joined. I was waiting for another couple days before I paint those. And yeah, things are coming along. Installed a new fish finder, run all the wires, that sort of thing. And probably, oh yeah, I installed my bilge pump in there. Just got to do the hose yet. And yeah, I think I'm just about ready to put the flooring back in. So I'm gonna reuse the old one. It's already cut out. It's not the greatest shape, but it's good enough for now. Otherwise, it's like $300-400 for me to get another piece. So I'm just gonna hold off on that for now. And yeah, just keep going here. But glad to have everything sort of back together. Splash well's on. Downriggers are mounted. Once I get it painted on here, just blend it in with the old paint and then let it dry, and then I can put my trim back on all the way around and over in here. So I've got my new boots that I bought for here. Install those. So yeah, it's coming along. Getting excited to go fishing.